Halfway through this movie, a group of teenagers ran into our theater and chucked a bunch of Sour Patch Kids at me. How f***ed up is that? Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jake, the Scary Story Guy, and today we're talking about M3GAN, but instead of an E, it's a 3. I can't wait for when the inevitable M3GAN 4 comes out in a few years and then they change the A in M3GAN to a 4, right? Because movie execs are always doing such clever things like that. I don't know if you saw what they're doing for Scream 6, but in the M of Scream, they're like making the Roman numeral 6 in like the V and the I. I'll show you what it looks like. I can't decide if it's stupid or cool, but anyway, M3GAN was released exclusively in theaters last week, and I'd seen the trailer for it a few times. They'd been marketing this movie quite a bit, and to be honest, I think most people saw the trailer and thought it looked bad. The problem was, from the trailer, it looked like this movie was gonna take itself way too seriously, like it was just going for straight horror. Thank God that wasn't the case. I mean, I went into this movie just expecting to hate it, do a scathing review on it. I haven't had to do that since I saw Annabelle, which on its face, M3GAN kind of seems like a similar project to. But honestly, I was very surprised by this movie, specifically how funny it was. I think I must have been at a really low energy screening because I was laughing my ass off the entire movie, and I think maybe everyone else around me thought it was supposed to be serious or something, so I was feeling this social pressure to like pull back and titter behind my fingertips like I was at a Victorian tea party or something. So let's talk specifics. First of all, this is a spoiler-free review. This movie's playing in theaters around the country right now. You've probably started to hear the buzz like, hey, this movie isn't complete dog shit. M3GAN is the story of a young girl who loses both of her parents in a car accident, but when she's adopted by her tech-savvy aunt, she forms a strange bond with a robot doll that has artificial intelligence. M3GAN was directed by Gerard Johnstone, who apparently a few years ago directed a movie called Housebound that a lot of people are telling me I need to see. And Johnstone really seems to have his finger on the pulse of what this movie is, right? It's embracing its inner ridiculousness at every turn, but it also knows that it's got some fairly deep and prescient things to say. And that's kind of a tough needle to thread, right? But at no point did I feel like this movie was being too silly or too preachy. It really struck that balance well, I thought. Allison Williams stars as Gemma, the aunt of this girl who develops the AI robot, and I don't think there's anything overly special about her performance, but the character itself is tremendously unlikable. Basically, her sister and brother-in-law die in a car crash, and she immediately says to herself, like, how can I use this to my advantage? And she comes up with this scenario where she can use her grieving niece as like a pawn in her own quest for career advancement, while simultaneously making sure that she never actually has to do any parenting of her own. To me, it encapsulates that thing that, like, I don't know, it's kind of a stereotype where high-level tech employees can't actually make real, meaningful, face-to-face connections with other people. Just that, like, desperate attempt to convince customers that their metaverse or whatever is somehow more than just a cheap simulacrum of the world. And that's not even the best social critique this movie makes, honestly. Violet McGraw is outstanding as Katie, the young girl who loses her parents and then forms the bond with the robot doll M3GAN. And in her, we see just how helpless a young, moldable mind is in the face of heavy technology. Our brains adapted to develop and thrive in a particular environment, and this modern technological landscape is just a massive shakeup. What are the implications of this? Are there any negative consequences when we replace the parental bond with like a super smart robot, or even just a tablet screen? M3GAN explores these questions, again, without coming off as preachy, and Violet McGraw's performance is instrumental in making that work. She's really believable as a kid who's going through stuff, right? At times she's sad and subdued, other times she's lashing out, but at all times she is just clear in her drive to be comforted. That's what she wants, right? That's her biological imperative. And honestly, M3GAN does provide that for her. In fact, she probably does a better job at it than any of the adults in Katie's life. But there are trade-offs with that sort of thing, and thus we have a horror movie. Now, as far as the actual horror elements go, M3GAN is not scary at all. In fact, I think it might be the perfect movie to start a kid out, like, on the horror genre with. That being said, the girl who does the voice work for M3GAN, her name is Jenna Davis, is creepy as hell. It's hard to say you can tell someone's got star quality when, like, you can't see them, but I don't know, I felt like here you could. Her tone of voice was just perfect for everything M3GAN said, and you can hear it throughout the movie as she starts to kind of gain more and more sentience. She's got several very, like, freaky line readings, and I think overall just really adds to the quality of this movie and whether or not it works. I also want to give a shout out to, like, whoever made the animatronics or CGI or whatever it is, the motion capture thing they used to make Gollum. I don't know. M3GAN looks dope as shit. Obviously, her dance in the hallway has gone viral on TikTok, so they tell me. I don't have the app, I never will. But there are so many moments in this movie where they just really nail the physicality of this robot. When you're undertaking a project like this, to me there's always potential for it to kind of be memorable in how poorly it goes. And I think it's a mark of really excellent craftsmanship whenever a movie manages to pull off the exact opposite of that. Now, this is a January Blumhouse release, which means the ceiling is probably pretty low. I don't think anyone was ever going to confuse M3GAN for a masterpiece. But I do want to talk about the one way that I thought M3GAN fell really short. And based on what I'm seeing online, a lot of other people feel this way too. This movie was originally supposed to be rated R, and the studio thought that if it was PG-13, that would get more asses in seats, so they forced changes. Now, they're probably right that it made the movie more marketable, but I just always hate it when the quest for a dollar outweighs the quest to make an awesome movie. And it's not that I don't think PG-13 horror movies can be good. I've spoken about that before on this channel. It's just that this movie had the flavor of an R-rated horror movie and just skipped over all the fun, violent kind of mayhem as payoff. There are a lot of moments where the buildup is one of like, oh man, wait till you see this, it's gonna be crazy. And then it just cuts away and leaves everything to your imagination, which, I don't know, that's not good showmanship. It also makes the pacing of the movie, just kind of the general flow, feel a lot choppier. You don't always notice those late edits that get made, but I definitely think you notice them here. It's always a bummer when the director has a vision for his project and then it just gets undercut by the studio, right? I don't normally do this, but if they ever come out with an unrated version of M3GAN, I'm probably gonna watch it just because I'm really curious what this movie looked like in its original form. That gripe aside, this is a movie that exceeds expectations in multiple ways, and I had a pretty good time watching it. I'm gonna give M3GAN 3.5 stars out of 5. No, you know what? I think I'm anticipating the unrated cut in that rating, so let's go with 3 for now. Alright guys, as always, stay tuned for more spooky content coming soon. I'm gonna try and drop a new video every Thursday, so we'll see how that goes. But thank you for watching this video, and here's hoping you survive to see the next one.